everyone. For today's notes, we are going to do page 5 in the note packet. We are going to finish target 2 today, or target A today. And target A is all about finding unknown sides and angles using trigonometric ratios and functions and stuff like that. So the other day we did sides, and I would like for you to write a big note to yourself that this is how we find our angles. So now we're going to be solving for unknown angles. So when we are looking for angles, we are going to be using sine, cosine, and tangent, but they're going to look a little bit different. We're going to learn today about the inverse functions of sine, cosine, and tangent. And usually we use regular sine, cosine, and tangent because we're looking for sides, and I'm given an angle. Now I will be given this angle, or I will be given the sides, and I need to find the angle. So we are going to be using the inverses. Inverses are basically the opposite. When I say I have 2x equals 4, if I want to get x by itself, I need to divide by 2. I'm doing 2x equals 4. The 2 and the x are being multiplied, and I want to reverse that by dividing them. So I'm doing the inverse of multiplication. We can apply that same concept here. We can do cosine inverse. So this little -1 here means something. It's going to be an entirely different button on our calculator. Sine to the -1 and tangent to the -1. And you don't really say those, you don't really say to the -1. We call them arc cosine, arc sine, and arc tangent. And so we will write ourselves a note that when we're looking for sides, I'm just going to write finding sides. When we are finding sides, we use sine, cosine, and tangent. When we are looking for angles now, which is what we're doing today, finding angles, we're going to use arc sine, sine to the -1, arc cosine, so cosine to the -1, and arc tangent, tangent to the -1. So please make yourself aware of this difference here. And the steps are actually very similar to what we have seen before. So it's actually a lot less steps because there's no algebra to do. But let's go through this example right here. What is the measure of angle X in each diagram? So angle X, I'm first going to label that. Angle X happens right here. And I want to solve for X. I don't know what my angle is. Regardless, I start all of the problems the same way. I need to label my 3 sides. So my hypotenuse is right here. My hypotenuse is, right across from my right angle. So 10 is my hypotenuse. Then I go to my angle X for my reference. And so if I want to find my opposite, I go to the side across. And then by process of elimination, my last side is my adjacent side down here. Then we're going to label what we know. Just like in the other problems when we're looking for sides, we know 2 out of the 3 pieces of information. From my sides, I still know 2 sides. I know my opposite side is 6, and I know my hypotenuse is 10. So I know my opposite, and I know my hypotenuse. And then since this is a regular problem, I need to write SOHCAHTOA up here. Every problem we do, we're going to write SOHCAHTOA. And I need to ask myself which function, sine, cosine, or tangent, is going to use the opposite and the hypotenuse sign. Well, I hope you agree with me that sine, S-O-H, opposite over hypotenuse, is what I'm going to use. So I'm going to use sine. And now when I go to write this out like I'm used to, I'm going to have sine. And I am looking for the angle, though. I don't have my angle, so I need to use the inverse sign. I need to use arc sine, so sine to that -1 power. And usually in this parentheses goes my angle, but I do not know my angle. We are solving for the angle. So we're going to do the opposite of what we usually would do, and we're going to put our fraction in this parentheses right here. So the opposite is 6. And the hypotenuse is 10, and that's going to be what X is equal to. Then we are going to put this in our calculator exactly how we see that, and I will explain in the next problem, in the next video, how to do that in your calculator.